Do you own a race car? Is your race car a Honda Civic? Do you want to make your race car just a little bit faster? Well, then you're in luck, because today I'm going to go over how I take even more weight out of this. This is my 97 Honda Civic sedan that I use for autocross, time trial, time attack, and I take it to shows because it is clean. Clean. But yeah, so if you're into racing, you kind of understand how power to weight ratio is. The lighter your car is will help you accelerate a little quicker. It's a whole bunch of math I don't want to get into. So today I am going to be taking this door and this door, and I'm going to be getting rid of as much material as possible. So I already did it to one of the doors, the driver's side. Here it is. This is what I've got. I'm not going to be using a driver's side window, but we'll get into that later. So I am going to take that door over there and make it look like this one. Ta-da! So one of the first things I'm going to get into is the things you need to remove so you can start cutting. Obviously, I have no door panel. That's fairly easy to get off. You pop a couple clips off. You got a screw here, another screw for the handle. But to get my window out, I'm going to have to roll it down just a little bit. Actually, probably right there. And then if you can see, there's a 10 millimeter, two 10 millimeter bolts that I'm going to remove so the window can come down. And for me to completely get the window out, I'll have to just, once those two bolts are out, I can crank the window down and then pull out the glass. All right, so I'm going to take these two number 10 screws out. When you're going to take the second one out, just try and hold the window up a little bit, because if you don't, it will fall all the way down. So now I can drop this window all the way down and slide down. Once you get about halfway, you can tilt it forward. Then you'll be able to pull the whole window out. So here we've got the window. I'm going to put this aside because I'm going to need this later after I cut this. So next thing I'm going to do now, after that I remove the window, is remove the window regulator. The window regulator is what will bring the window up and down. Now this is for a manual operated window. These were electric, but I swapped them out some time ago. But you've got a few 10 millimeter bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 3 10 millimeter nuts. But before you can start taking those nuts and bolts off, there's a clip that's on this handle. So this clip here goes on this handle right in here like this to keep it on here, so you can move the window up and down. Well, I'm not going to need this anymore, so I'm going to take it out, put the clip back, and now I can start taking these pieces off. There is your manual window regulator. So this I don't need. I'm gonna toss. Remember, like I said, I'm gonna keep all of this stuff aside. That way when I'm done with all of this, we can put it in a bucket and weigh it and see how much weight we actually took out of this door. So now I've got the original handle in my way, and I've got to get the lock out. So I'm going to start with the handle. First thing I'm going to do is move this little clip over. I'll show you once I pop it out exactly what it looks like. All right. So this clip right in here, there you go, that's better light, my finger was in the way, will hold in this bar. This little bar will actuate your door. So once you pop this clip off the bar, you can lift this bar up and out. And now I can take this out. This is just one little Phillips screw right inside there. And this will come out. Then the next thing I'm gonna do is these 3 Phillips screws here for the lock. I'm gonna remove those, and then I'll get into the rest of the way I remove the lock. Now that I've got my handle off, the 3 bolts, the 3 Phillips head screws here are off. Now this screw here, which holds the guide for the window, I've got to remove so I can shift it over so I can get the lock out. So I'm going to take this off, then I've got 2 number 10s right here holding the door handle. See, one right here, and one right there. And then there's also a small little clip, a pull clip under this lock, right in there, that I'm gonna have to take out so I can get this handle out. Now, if you remember that plastic clip that was holding here, the one that I was able to swing off, there's also a yellow one right in there. You see it? It may not be yellow on your car, maybe blue, purple, black, red, whatever color it may be. So I'm just gonna flop that open. So I just took a little screwdriver, pried it off. So now the clip is off and I can pull that little bar out. That little bar out is for the lock. The little bar out. The little bar that I just took out is for the door lock. So that's what'll lock this latch down here every time you turn the key on the door. All right, so this is the clip that I was talking about that holds this lock in place. So I don't know if you can see there, the clip will slide in through this hole here. You're gonna push it up and the clip will guide itself between this part of the lock and the door handle. So that way the key can stay facing out on the door. So now that the key cylinder is out and the 2 number 10 bolts holding this together are out, along with these 3 screws, now I can pull this out. And what I need to do now is get this little pin off the plastic handle. You can thread this off if you'd like, but just keep in mind how many times you threaded it out when you go to thread it back in, or else you'll have to readjust how hard or easy you want to pull the door handle to open the door. So what I like to do is I'll try and pry this off, this little pin. Just don't do what I did, don't drop it. Hope I didn't scratch the front. Front still looks good, all right. So now with that off, I can slide this down over here. Like I said, we had to loosen that bolt, and down goes the lock assembly. here is your lock assembly. So now, like I said, I'm going to put this aside because this I do have to reuse. I'm going to put this back, that way I can lock the door when I close it. Here we have pretty much a bare door. No window regulator, no latch, no lock, no window. Now I can get to the part of marking where I want to cut this door. So since I already did that side, I'm actually very happy with the way this one came out. What I did was, when I closed the door, let's see if we can get a good look at this. I pretty much took a pencil right along this lip here of the car body to the door. So I lined it up like so, right? And just took a pencil and went across the line at the bottom of the car body. And then pretty much the same going up and around, right, to try and keep it as tight and neat as possible. Now for the front part, for the front part of this door, there is a second layer of metal behind the first. I didn't want to remove too much of that because I felt that that would mess with the structural integrity of the door. So I tried to leave as much of that as possible. But I did keep this mark, went up with a nice curve. Same here. I need to fix this a little bit. This still has a little bit of a rough edge. And then came up and around. I did want to go flat across here, but I left these two holes in here for the future, just in case I do want to run a window on this side. So I'll have to see what I do on the passenger side to hold the window up. I've got my handy dandy pencil. I don't like to use marker for this because I don't want to touch anything else, and the marker's a pain in the butt to get off. So I'm going to start with the pencil. Going to go across the bottom like I said before. Okay, so check it out. I made my marks with my pencil going all the way around. I'm gonna leave a little bit of a half circle here, so I have space for the washer on the bolt to grab. But I'm basically coming all the way around here, coming up on this line, coming across here, straight across all of this, dropping down over here, and then catching it again over here. So these two zip ties are here to hold up the bar for the window. This one I unbolted so it doesn't get caught up with anything. Big thing for me, I don't know about everybody else, but I covered my car because there will be metal shavings flying everywhere. If you see, I covered the hood as well. So because there's going to be metal shavings and they're going to be hot coming off of the little grinder, if it does touch your paint, land on your paint, you will get burn spots. The little hot red molten pieces of steel will burn the clear on your car, and then you don't want that. So it's easier just to cover it. This is a better cover than no cover. So I know it's just a piece of plastic, but this will work for me for now. It did on the other side, so I'm using it again for this. So I'm gonna get started on this now. Hopefully I can get it in one shot. Well, the grinder didn't work too well. I mean, it would have cut great, but if you look, it started burning the paint a little bit. And since I don't plan on painting these doors on the inside, or at least this part of the door, inside there maybe, but I don't plan on doing this. I'm gonna go back to what I used on the other side, which was the jigsaw. So I took the jigsaw, I cleaned up the bottom, and I put some tape around here. Whoops. Put some tape around the bottom, just so when I run it across the door, it doesn't snag up too much and make too many scratches. The tape will get messed up, so don't worry about that too much. But besides that, this should make the job easy, as it did for me on the driver's side, and you guys will see now. here it is. This is the door skin. It is cut out. I just got a metal splinter. But that is the door there. It's all cut out. I'm happy with it. You know, I've got a little edge over here I've got to round out. A little bit over here that I got to fix. And over here I was a little crooked with the jigsaw. So I'm just going to take a Dremel or a grinder wheel and straighten that out real quick. Fix that little turn over there. And then I am good to go. Then we can get onto removing this. This is where the weight savings comes in. All the edges are smooth and deburred. Took all that nasty stuff off that you can cut yourself with, which is important because eventually you're going to have to open and close this door and you don't want to cut yourself because of your lack of enthusiasm. So next thing is this bar where I told you guys where most of the weight is going to be removed from. So that bar is pretty thick. There are these brackets in the corner. You see here, bracket 1, bracket 2 back here. To remove those brackets, you have to take out this seal here for the door. In order to remove the seal, kind of got to pull up and push back down over this little clip here. And you'll see there's 4 spot welds. See if I can get them in there. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And there's 4 more on that side behind the weather strip. So I'm going to get my spot weld bit. I'm not going to go into how to use a spot weld drill bit in this video. I'm sure you guys can look that up and find it. But I'm going to drill out those holes, and then I'm going to have to find a way to cut this in the middle the right way so I don't cut this part of the door, because if I cut that, then the door is now garbage, or you're going to have to invest more money in fixing the slice you just put in your door. Drilled out the 4 spot welds with the spot weld bit. See, it kind of moves around in there now. I did the same on this side. I kept breaking drill bits because of how tight this corner is over here, but it's out. They're loose. Then the next thing I did was I took a razor blade and cut this here. This is all seam sealer. Some type of silicone or seam sealer. But that's holding this to the door. Be very careful that you don't cut into the door when you use your razor blade. But that's pretty much out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my grinder and cut right in the middle. But I'm not going all the way through. I want to make sure I leave a little bit of the bar. And then I'm going to try and shove a plate. Can't say my S's today. I'm going to try to shove a plate behind the bar. That way I can continue to grind and not have to worry about this door. That way I can just, grind all the way through it. So the bar is out, thanks to my trusty grinder. Bar I cut in half. So as you see here, this plate has that cut in it. If I didn't have this plate there, I would have cut that into the door. Maybe gone through the door. If not, I definitely would have burned the paint on the other side. So make sure you use this plate behind wherever you're using the cutoff wheel to cut that bar out. Now these, like I said before, is just like a silicone seam sealer type of thing, so you can actually take a razor blade and just cut those off. Let me see if I can find the razor blade I had.
A few moments later.
So yeah, so you can just take the razor blade, press it up against, and look, comes right out. Same thing. Comes right out. You can even clean up a little bit. And then the rest you can get off with brake cleaner. Just a little bit, not too much. See? Comes right out. So I'm going to clean this up a little bit, wipe down the door. And then I'm going to start putting the door handle back in and the lock. Well, I got a little bit ahead of myself and I didn't set up the camera, but putting the door handle and the lock back in is pretty much the opposite of how we took it apart. One thing I am not keeping with this door that I took off earlier is the door handle that was here. So I cannot open this door from the inside if I had a window, but I do not have a window. I don't plan on using a window. The organization that I race with requires that we have both driver and passenger windows down when we race. So there's really no need for this for me at the moment. When it comes time for washing the car, then I'll have to figure something out, but that'll be at a later date. Right now, this is how it's gonna stay. So the front door is pretty much done. You know, I got my handle works, got my door lock back in. The door surprisingly still closes nice and sturdy. You know, it doesn't flex a lot. Actually, the whole car still moves. And the door just feels significantly lighter, just moving it like this. But this is pretty much it. This is how it's gonna stay for now. I did leave this area here. I didn't cut straight across for the reason of holding up whatever I use for a window in the future. But we are good to go on this door. So now I'm ready to weigh everything that we just took out of this door. And this stuff is pretty heavy. I'm actually surprised at how much it weighs. So I'm gonna pull out my little hand scale. Then we're gonna start weighing this stuff. I've got the door skin, the window, and the bucket full of parts. The window regulator, the bar that was across the door, some other plastic parts that are in there, like the door handle, some bolts and stuff. So I'm gonna start with the window, and then we'll add everything up once it's done. So I've got my glass, the original front door glass. This is what I'm using to weigh it. It's a bag weigher for when you travel. I don't know the exact name or how much it costs. It's something my mom actually had in the house, so she gave it to me because she knew what I was working on. But you can take whatever you want to put across either of these two holes, or just find something where you can hang it easily from. So I'm going to take the hook, hang it in the slot. Well, first I should turn this on, that would help. Turn it on, it reads 0 pounds. So I'm going to take this hook, slide it in the slot. I'm going to let the door hang, and then this will actually hold and show you the weight. The window itself is 6 pounds. So just removing the window, I've got 6 pounds out of the car. Now let's go see what this door skin weighs. I'm going to hook this from over here. Same thing, so I'm going to zero this out. Back to 0. Hook this up over here. And it holds the weight. The door skin, 3 pounds. 6 plus 3 is what? 9. 9 pounds so far out of that door. Now this one's gonna be tough because I don't know how I'm gonna pick up this bucket. So after a few minutes of me trying to figure out what to do, I came up with the idea of drilling 2 holes in the bucket on opposite ends so I can put a zip tie through it, so I can use this hook to hang on the zip tie. So like before, I'm going to turn this on. It reads 0. And now I'm just going to hook this on the bucket, lift, and let's see what we have. I've got 7.4 pounds. let's just call it 7 pounds because of the bucket and the zip tie. So we'll call it 7 pounds even. So between the 9 pounds before and the 7 pounds that we have here, in total, what I've removed from the front door, just one of them, is 16 pounds. So between the two doors, that's 32 pounds. 32 pounds. I'm like mind blown that I've taken 32 pounds out of just the two front doors. So I'm hoping maybe I can get, I don't know, let's say another 10 pounds a door out of the back doors. Another 20 pounds. So this is just, I don't even know what to say, because this is exactly what I'm looking for. The most weight I can remove out of this car while I still have it function and be able to use it the way I intend to. So I think that's it for this video, because I was looking at the times and I'm looking at almost a half hour. This is a long one. So guys, I'm gonna leave it with this. Thank you so much for tuning in. There is definitely gonna be a part 2 on how I cut and gut the back door. So stick around, hit that subscribe button. Definitely hit the bell if you want to stay tuned and up to date on the newest video coming out, because there's a few more coming up soon. The race season is right around the corner. I'm in full scramble mode, so definitely stick around.